The gas station looked like it had been forgotten by the world. One of the overhead lights buzzed and flickered, casting long, uneasy shadows across the cracked pavement. Lena pulled her tired sedan up to the pump and shut off the engine, exhaling slowly as if she'd been holding her breath for miles. The fuel gauge hovered just above empty, exactly where her bank account usually sat these days. In the backseat, her 8-year-old son Evan slept with his cheek pressed against the window, his backpack hugged to his chest like a pillow. Lena watched him for a moment, brushing hair from his face, reminding herself why she kept pushing forward no matter how hard things got. She stepped out of the car, the night air cool against her skin, and slid her card into the pump, silently hoping it wouldn't be declined. That's when she heard laughter. It came from the far side of the lot, sharp and careless. 3 men stood near a muddy pickup truck, empty cups scattered at their feet. At first, Lena told herself it was nothing, people laughed all the time. She focused on the pump, the slow, ticking numbers, the smell of gasoline thick in the air. But the laughter grew louder. One of the men glanced her way, then nudged the others. Their eyes followed her movements, lingering too long. Words floated across the lot, comments about her car, her clothes, said just loudly enough to be heard. Lena's shoulders tightened. She kept her gaze down, pretending not to notice, hoping silence would make her invisible. Her heart beat faster with every passing second. The station clerk didn't look up from behind the glass. The road beyond the station was empty. Alone under the buzzing lights, Lena felt that familiar, sinking fear, the kind that comes when you realize you're being watched, and there's no one around to help. Lena snapped the gas cap shut, hoping she could get back into the car before things escalated. But as she turned, one of the men had already stepped into her path. He leaned against the hood like he owned it, a crooked grin stretching across his face. "Leaving so soon?" he asked, tapping the metal with his knuckles. The sound echoed far louder than it should have. Another man wandered closer, pretending to inspect the pump while inching toward her. The third stayed near the truck, laughing, acting as lookout. Lena's pulse pounded in her ears. She tightened her grip on her keys, the cold metal biting into her palm, and forced her voice to stay steady. "Please move," she said. "I just want to go." Instead of backing away, they closed in. One reached out and casually flicked the gas nozzle, sending a small splash onto the pavement. "Relax," he sneered. "We're just talking." The smell of fuel mixed with the sour scent of alcohol on his breath. Lena took a step back, only to realize she was boxed in by the pump in her car. Her worst fear came when the second man leaned toward the back window and peered inside. "You got a kid in there," he said, his tone shifting. "Real late to be out, huh?" Lena's chest tightened so sharply it hurt. "Don't look at him," she snapped, fear breaking through her calm. She glanced toward the convenience store, silently pleading. The clerk stood behind the counter, eyes fixed on a screen, pretending not to notice. The men laughed louder, feeding off her desperation. One of them reached out, fingers brushing her sleeve. Lena's breath caught. Trapped, shaking, and outnumbered, she realized there was nowhere left to run, and that was when the sound of engines began to rise in the distance. At first, Lena thought the sound was thunder, low, distant, rolling through the night. But the sky was clear. The rumble grew louder, closer, until the ground beneath her feet seemed to vibrate. The men paused mid-laugh, their heads turning toward the highway. Twin beams of light appeared at the edge of the road, then another, and another, cutting through the darkness like approaching stars. Motorcycles poured into the gas station, engines roaring in a deep, unified growl. One by one, they fanned out with practiced ease, tires crunching over gravel, chrome flashing beneath the flickering lights. Within seconds, Lena and her car were no longer exposed. The bikers formed a wide, deliberate circle around her, close enough to block the thugs, far enough to feel controlled, intentional. Helmets came off, faces appeared, men and women, weathered and calm, eyes sharp but steady. No one shouted, no one rushed, their engines idled, a constant reminder of power held in check. The laughter behind Lena died instantly. She could feel the shift in the air, fear draining from her body and pooling somewhere else. A tall biker with a gray beard rolled his bike forward and shut off the engine. He removed his helmet slowly, meeting the thugs, eyes without blinking. "Evening," he said, voice quiet but firm. "Everything all right here?" The man who'd blocked Lena's path took a step back. His smirk vanished, replaced by a tight, nervous smile. "Yeah, man. Just talking." The biker glanced at Lena, then at the sleeping child in the backseat. His jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. When he looked back at the thugs, the message was clear without a single threat spoken. The pickup door slammed. Tires screeched as the men scrambled away, their truck fishtailing as it sped out of the lot. The roar of motorcycles remained, steady and protective, as Lena finally realized she was no longer alone. The pickup truck disappeared down the highway, its taillights shrinking into the darkness. For a moment, no one spoke. The gas station felt different now, quieter, safer, like the air itself had relaxed. Lena stood frozen beside her car, hands still trembling, only just realizing how close she'd come to something terrible. One of the bikers shut off his engine and gave her a reassuring nod. Another rolled his bike closer to the edge of the lot, eyes scanning the road, standing watch without being asked. The gray-bearded leader turned to Lena, his expression softening. "You're okay now," he said gently. "Take your time." Lena swallowed hard and nodded, unable to find her voice. She finished pumping the gas, the numbers clicking upward far more slowly than before. When she replaced the nozzle, one of the bikers stepped forward and handed her a bottle of water. "You look like you could use this," she said with a small smile. Lena's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you," she whispered. "I didn't know what to do." The leader reached into his jacket and pulled out a simple card. "We ride this route every week," he explained. "And we help out families when we can. If you ever need a safe stop, this place knows us." It wasn't charity that embarrassed her, it was kindness that caught her off guard. Evan stirred in the backseat, rubbing his eyes. Lena climbed in, buckling her seatbelt with shaking fingers. As she started the engine, the bikers moved aside, clearing a path. One by one, they nodded in farewell. As Lena drove away, she looked in the rearview mirror. The bikers mounted their machines and disappeared into the night, their engines fading into the distance. She realized then that heroes don't always wear uniforms. Sometimes, they ride in leather, and they show up right when hope feels gone.